Welcome to the Freedom Hustles podcast, where host John and Andy take you on a journey of liberation away from the 9-to-5 grind. Explore side hustles, remote work, and the skills to help you unlock true freedom. Brought to you by freedomskillsacademy.com, this podcast is your gateway to independence and financial empowerment.
Okay, so there we go again. Episode 60. Welcome back. And so this episode, we're talking a little bit about freelancing, but not the type of stuff that we do. So not, like you hiring. We're talking more about hiring freelancers to work within your business. So perhaps a little bit of outsourcing for certain tasks that maybe you don't want to do, or maybe would just generally be better if someone else done them for you. So welcome, Andy. How you doing?
Not too bad yourself, John. You're enjoying the weather?
We got severe gales at the moment, so the roof might blow off the conservatory where we're filming this, but
that could be interesting.
We'll battle on regardless. So anyway, yeah. So outsourcing, something that we do. Something that we encourage as well. Once you start bringing in some revenue into your business, then it is a good option. So yeah, perhaps you want to sort of pick things off.
Yeah, there's outsourcing or using freelancers is a fantastic way of expanding and growing and scaling up your business, as people like to say. It's one of those. Both of us know quite a lot about WordPress. We know a lot about websites, but we also know that tinkering around with them can be a nightmare, especially when you're not doing it day in, day out. What we remember or what we know, we sometimes forget, and you're a bit scratchy your head. And sometimes it can be quite time consuming when you consider the fact that we make money from the things that we create, which is like the products, so the writing, when we do a PDF book or we do a video course or stuff that people can actually buy, the things that we can sell, we make our money via that. And every time we're working on something that it gives us a bit of a head scratch, it takes us away from producing content. So the best way around that is, as you will know, is to actually hand out the, shall we dare say it, the dull work, the background work, under the bonnet work to somebody who actually knows what they're doing, who could do it. I mean, not only can they do it probably like twice as fast, probably even 3 times as fast, but they do it while we're working on our projects, while we're working on something. I mean, like now we're recording this podcast, which is basically going to be good for generating traffic. But you could be knee deep under the bonnet on the website, because we've had a bit of an issue just recently, haven't we, with the Elementor theme update, and everything's updated at the moment. A few things have crashed, and the website got a bit skew with. So today we basically handed it out to somebody else.
If anyone's using it, it is fine now. It's fine now, by the way, if anyone's open. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, so we handed that out to somebody else who was able to work on it and a lot quicker while we were doing what we were doing.
And that's just it, isn't it? Some of the more sort of, I mean, even like things like the, social media. A lot of people use that now, don't they? They sort of outsource social media. They get someone to run their social media accounts for them, or maybe even just make the content, and then you share it still. But
that's a very good point you brought up there. That I've been obviously observing and watching and learning a lot of this high ticket affiliate marketing that's going on.
Yeah.
And during my conversations with a person, he was telling me, because this is actually quite interesting, that because obviously you got to be careful with Facebook, because they like to make sure that people aren't getting into your account, and it's got to be you. But he has a person in the Philippines who logs into his account through a VPN. He basically logs out when he's done his work. He logs out. He sends a message to this guy in the Philippines and says, "I'm out." So then he uses a VPN to log in, pretending that he's in that same location. And he then basically starts friending people on his behalf. He has like a criteria what he needs to do, and so he'll go in there and he'll start going through lists of people. And I don't know if he spends an hour or 2 hours, but he'll just basically sit there sending friend requests to people that this criteria thinks might be a good connection.
Yeah.
And so he basically does that, and then when he's finished, I think he also replies to messages. He's probably got a list of jobs to do, and he might reply to the other messages. But then, if there's something that needs more attention or needs more of this guy's skills and ability that he, the outsourcer doesn't have, he'll send a WhatsApp message saying, "I've logged out. By the way, you need to message this person, this person, this person," and then that's it. He logs out. And so this guy then comes to his Facebook account and finds out he's probably got like 50, 30, 40, 100 new friends over the weekend to work with.
And think about it. I mean, if you think about it, even like to sort of to a lesser extent, kind of like what we do, really. There's always outsourcing involved. So we've just said then, like at the start of the show, we were saying, we outsource some work that needs doing within our company. We outsource that to someone. So some of the sort of technical background stuff on the website. I mean, you and I, we build websites, we sell websites. We've done that before, but again, it's time. I could sit down there and spend 3 hours going through all these fixes and everything like that and getting everything up to date. Or we could record 2 or 3 episodes of this. We could write 3 blog articles. We could create, 3 or 4 videos, or we could start a new product. All of those things are going to be more beneficial to us rather than sitting around in the background and tinkering on a website and fixing things like that. So we outsource stuff. And then if you think about it, in the past, we've actually, I've, and I know you yourself as well, if you think about it, you've written content for people before. That effectively is them outsourcing to you, right? So you write content, you write emails for clients. I build websites for clients, and I get website leads from agencies. So that agency's still making money. So whatever I charge, they're putting some more on top of that. Yeah. So they're going to make some money anyway. So everyone's doing it. There's always, it's not a big deal. Everything's, it's a perfectly fine and legit way of, business nowadays, isn't it? You know what I mean?
It is. I mean, you just raised a point there that made me think, and this is very important for anybody who's listening to sort of think of it this way. When you're starting out online, you probably got very little money or a little bit money spare or whatever, and you try not to. You don't want to spend on lots of things, but talking about our website, for example, you mentioned about us recording, say, 3 or 4 podcasts while the website's been worked on. If we paid $100 to a chap to do the work on the website, and then we recorded for 4 podcasts, I mean, that's good going. But I mean, to be fair, you could do it in the time he works on the website. So you do 4 podcasts. They then go out onto YouTube. They then go out to our email list. They then go out to Spotify and Anchor FM. Those 4 podcasts could actually bring us back traffic, people who sign up, and we could actually generate, say, $200, $300, $400, $500 to $1,000 from doing them podcasts, where we've only just paid out $100 to that bloke. And it's always, there's a lot of people who would think, oh, I can't do that because I've got to save the $100 or I've got to do this only. But sometimes it's by spending that $100 on somebody to do something that is going to be the hard part, the stuff that isn't going to bring in any traffic, because basically he's repairing the website. He's not out there generating traffic for us, is it?
No.
Whereas these podcasts are, and they can bring in the extra work, the clients. I mean, always reminds me that time when you built a website for, we spoke about this before, but you did a website for a driving instructor.
Yeah.
And had he not spent the money having you do the work for you, if he hadn't outsourced a freelancer, which was you, and he done it himself, it could have took him absolute weeks. Whereas, in fact, he spent the money with you, you knocked it up, had it ready within the first few days of whatever it going published. He made his money back and more.
Yeah, he sold like a 2-week crash course or something for like a couple of grand.
He could have missed out on that had he done it himself and taken
exactly.
3 or 4
Well, it
weeks.
would have taken him months probably to get it all, right. Let's face it, if you don't know what you're doing, it can be a bit of an overwhelming task. But and then again, back to us. We landed a client who wanted a load of SEO doing, and but we outsource that work. Do you know what I mean? We know we know a little bit about SEO, but it's not our expertise. So we're not going to claim to be, but it's a service that we can provide. But me and you aren't going to sit behind the computer and do it. But we know some people that are very good at it. So we just basically outsourced it to them.
Mm.
We made a good bit of money out of it, and more importantly, the client landed a huge contract based off that, and it probably paid for it 20 times, what we charged. So everyone was happy, all three parties were happy. They landed
Everybody
a
made
massive
money.
job. We got paid a nice few months' work, and then we outsourced some work to our guys,
Yeah, I mean,
and they
this was
charged a
something
good rate as well.
this is something we were discussing the other night, isn't it? And this should be another podcast for the future.
Mm.
You said you were going to be talking to somebody in the next week or two about being in the middle, and that's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what we were with the SEO, wasn't it? We were.
Mm.
Someone came to you through your reputation and knowledge of websites and SEO. And then we took it to somebody who actually has far better knowledge and understanding of SEO, and then just creamed a bit off the top. And it was just basically a case of putting two together. So they outsourced the work,
Mm.
we outsourced the work, and the guy at the other end, he got paid for doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So, say all parties were happy, and I don't even think that even if the guy even if the guy who paid us knew what we done, I don't think he'd be bothered at all. Do you know what I mean? No, why would he care? Do you know what I mean?
he was more bothered about getting the results that he wanted, which he did.
Exactly. Yeah.
He got the
So,
business.
and that's the point. That's the point that you made basically at the top of the show. Sometimes it's the old speculate to accumulate, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it is true. And sure, not everything. There's always risks involved with any business venture you take, and not everything's going to be 100%, and not everything's going to work. But you know, as Elon Musk says, fail fast. You know what I mean? You don't if you don't try these things, you don't learn. Do you know what I mean? And that's sort of part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is the way it is. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, another one that I done, which I think I've mentioned before, was I remember a couple of years back, I was getting some pretty good traffic from Pinterest.
Yeah.
It was on another little blog that I used to work for, and then I outsourced a load of images on that because that started getting a bit silly. Like you had to post like 20 a day really to get any traction from it, and there was no way that I was going to sit on camera and make 20 images and then post them 20 times a day. No way on earth I was going to do that. So I outsourced that, and there was a lady from like I think it was work per hour or people per hour. I think the website's called. I don't even know if it's still live. Actually, I don't even know if it's still going. Maybe we can have a look while we're online. But and then I basically found someone on there, and she was a decent wage, and she wanted like I don't know what it was, like the Philippines. It was dollars per hour. Do you know what I mean? And but it was I think again some people might say, oh, why are you so tight? Why are you paying it like that? That's to them people from them countries, it is actually a good wage. That's considered a good wage. So you're not, that's that's the modern world nowadays. Do you know what I mean? That's okay. It's
put
may
it
not
this
agree with
way.
it, but it is still going. Yeah, people per hour was the website I hired them from, and yeah, it was brilliant.
You paid her what she asked for, though, didn't you?
Well, exactly. Yeah. In actual fact, she was so good that after about 3 months, I stopped using her because I think I got what I needed out of that little run. I think it was 2 or 3 blog posts that I wanted promoting, and she done it anyway. And then when I went to rehire her again in like 6 months' time, she said that she's not doing that anymore. She's been taken on full time by an agency. So she was obviously that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
there are out there. Mm.
you pay what people ask as well. That's the thing. It's all right saying that. I know some people think you're using those people, and I mean, obviously, it's the free economic market, isn't it? Whether you
It is, yeah.
it's here in the UK, you can get somebody who will do the same job, and they're probably like 3-4 times the price. And yes, it's nice to shop at home, but you go to another country, they'll do it, a quarter of the price, but they can still deliver the same knowledge, the same skill set. It doesn't,
Mm.
just because they're in a place where there's a cheaper economy doesn't mean that their work is any cheaper, and you pay them what they ask for, and a lot of the time they're very happy and grateful. And to be fair, it's it's just that balancing, isn't it? I mean, if you come here in the UK and you use a freelancer who's British and they want, say, like £1,000 for the work because obviously their mortgage is about £800 a month, but then you go to somewhere Bangladesh who wants like £500 for the work, and their rent is probably like $250 the month. It's just how it is. They can afford to undercut a lot of the British and American workers, and it's a sad fact of life. The internet has opened the doors to that. But I also I gave a bit of a bonus to a freelancer in Bangladesh who I've used a couple of times, and I paid for him to have access to Medium subscription, and there was something else the other day, $100 bonus for something. I can't remember what it was now.
We've bought software for them, haven't we? And we've bought
Yeah.
theme licenses, and what I mean, because it's they get the benefit of it, and not only that, we know we'll get the return anyway. So
And a happy worker is a happy, it's a happy business, and
and especially like if we're using tools that is going to benefit us, do you know what I mean? And that if we're going to like a premium tool that we're using anyway, it's it's just as beneficial for us to give them a license. Do you know what I mean? So that we can all get the benefits. But
yeah, when it comes to outsourcing, there's these using freelancers. There's two rules of sort of, I suppose, two sides of the debate, and some people, and this makes sense, and that is, if you are brand new and you want to get a website up and running and you don't know, you pay big money to get the website up and running, get it up and done quicker. You you basically outsource the stuff that you can't do, you don't think you can do, or you don't want to do. But then there's that other school of thought where is it basically outsource all the menial, dull stuff, and you focus on the stuff that makes the most money, or the bigger skills,
value adding stuff,
which is fine. And you've got to sort of decide which, if a freelancer says your website's going to cost you $1,000, it's like that sounds quite expensive, but you've got to figure out whether you doing it yourself is actually going to be worth your time and effort than spending the $1,000, because you could spend the $1,000 to have the website up and done ready within a month, and you could be trading, and so you could probably earn that £1,000 back quickly. But if you're going to try and do the website to that same sort of level that you want, and it takes you 6 months, you've probably lost far more than £1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got to take that into consideration. But I'm into you've got to figure out what it is you want to do and what your skill set is and what you would like to do. But I've come to the idea that with, like we said earlier, with the website, the under the bonnet stuff, it's often better to pay someone to do the work that we either don't like, we can't do, or is really I think someone worked it out as like your cost per hour. So as a writing emails, it makes more sense for me, because what I charge to write an email, it makes more sense for me to spend 2 hours writing emails for a client than it is to tinker under the bonnet and pay somebody who can do it in Bangladesh. And I often think that now is as well, with not so much from the online business world, but you could, again, it depends on how you are, your situation is or what, but if you make money as a writer or as a video blogger or whatever it is, put more time into that and pay somebody to come and do your shopping, or pay somebody to come and do your cleaning. It's that sort of, if you want more time in your business, pay somebody who £20 to come and clean your house, so you save an hour.
Like in that, like the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week, he sort of outsourced everything, doesn't he? Literally, in that, he even gets people answering his emails and doing everything for him. Yeah.
Do you know that's one book I have yet to read? I keep meaning to. I've never got around to it.
Yeah, it's all right. I didn't jump on the bandwagon like everyone did. I thought it was okay. It's one of them books, I mean, read it, but yeah, it's a bit sort of, literally outsources everything. So I just wanted to quickly touch on another subject, which is something I recently posted on TikTok. I recently posted on the TikTok channel, which I'll drop the link in below. It's a fairly new account, but it's just something that, it's another little channel that we started up. And I just asked a question on there about payment for freelancers.
Good.
This is kind of like flipping it back around the other way. So, and the question was, so if you are the freelancer in this case, so how do you take payment? So there was quite a bit of a debate on there. It went, crazy in terms of comments. There was a lot of people chiming in with their opinions on it. Now, for me, and certainly for us and the work that we've done before, we've tended to take. Actual fact, I think we've done it a bit. I think we've done it the other way around as well. but yeah, so anyway, so two trains of thought. One was basically, do you take the payments all up front? Actually, there's three models. Do you take the payment all up front? Do you take the payment on completion of the job, which is generally the way I've operated in the past? I've tended to do the whole site or do the whole, I don't know how you do it with your emails. Perhaps you can talk about that after this. But in terms of website builds, whenever I've done a website build for a client, I've always taken the payment at the end. I don't know what it is about it. I don't like getting all the money up front because then I almost feel like I've been paid and I haven't even done anything yet. I like to get payment at the end. But I recently had somebody that it was absolutely fine. But it was, and again, well within the terms of the 30 days. But they took sort of like 3 or 4 weeks ish to pay. So you start getting a little bit like, um, but the general consensus on the TikTok post was that people take, like a 50% down payment.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is settled on completion. Now, the beauty of doing that with websites is that works perfectly because, if you're building a website, you might need some premium plugins, you might need a premium theme, you might need, a page builder pro version of something, and all that's going to cost you money. I know you can obviously invoice them at the end, but in the beginning, you would have to pay for all that. So, in terms of taking a payment up front, I think that works. And then, of course, the other option is, you do this sort of like staggered thing, which I didn't really pay too much time on that. So I don't know. I mean, how do you operate with your, clients for that you wrote for and stuff like that?
Well, the thing is, if you take 50% up front, you're compensated for your time if somebody doesn't pay the rest.
Yeah, exactly.
That is because for me, I come from the joinery business, being as a builder in the building trade.
Yeah.
And we always used to do the job first, then get the invoice later. And I mean, like you said, you buy wood materials and stuff like that. Sometimes you could ask for a bit of an upfront payment, but generally a lot of the time you didn't. And if they didn't pay, your cash flow would, if I can say it, buggered, and it screws you up. And I remember talking one day, and someone said, "You do realize our industry is behind the times. We're the only industry now, freelancers and builders, whatever, service providers. Generally, they're the only people now who do the service and then invoice." He says, "You could think about going to Amazon, but every time," and you said like you're getting paid up front, you're not done anything. But Amazon, everybody, all these online shops get paid front before they've even delivered your telly, before
Oh
you
yeah,
had your phone, your
absolutely.
book delivered. So you're paying for products before you get them, and it should be the same with the service model. Now, saying that, when it comes to me, I've actually got some good clients who I know very well, and so I basically do the work and then invoice them at the end of the month.
Yeah, I've got that as well on a few that, I trust them. We've met a load of times. It's easy for me to just invoice at the end of the month. That's fine. Yeah.
And it's in many ways it would be detrimental. Excuse me, I'm a bit croaky. It's a bit detrimental for them to not pay me because then I'll not do the work which they need.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they sort of count on me. But if it was anybody new now, I think I would probably have them pay up front, or at least 50%. I would probably, if I was looking for more work, I would actually probably stick it on the website with a buy now button and a sales page saying if you want this. I mean, in the recent newsletter, I did a video showing you how to make a Stripe payment link. So I would probably have a conversation with somebody and then say if you're interested, and
Send
then
them a link.
bish bash bosh, send them the link to the payment where they either pay for the services or half, payment up front.
Yeah, no, I
Because
think that's
you've got to pay for you. I mean, I know we're not in the digital world. We haven't got loads of suppliers of timber and that to pay, but you're still using your time up, and you've got to be compensated for that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, and everything, like you say, time is money, and also, there are things involved. Like hosting is not free. Domains aren't free.
Yeah.
In the times of like, if you're going to build websites, you Element or page builders, themes, that's all. There's all a cost to all of that. I mean, the
Yeah.
guys that we use, we're sort of on a rolling monthly basis, so that we kind of pay at the end of the month, don't we? We settle up with our guys at the end of the month, and that's a fair enough model because it works. But I mean, I guess it's so whatever fits, whatever suits you, and it obviously depends a little bit what you're doing. But I think it isn't a bad thing, and it is definitely a fair model to ask, about payment up front, or certainly, 50% up front.
Yeah, I mean, the other option, you froze there a bit. I don't know if that need editing out or not, but you froze on me for a bit
We'll
there.
see.
But, I got the gist of what you said. But I mean, the other option is if you don't want to go for 50%, you go with 25%. At least then you've got something to compensate for your time. It depends on what the job is. If it's going to be, like you say, building a website, you think it's going to be like a big 2-month job, really in-depth
Well, that
job.
was, it was kind of like the guys that I was speaking to were saying, like, basically anything under like $2,000 or anything under 1,500 quid, full payment up front. Anything over that, then half payment and then settle at the end, which I think is fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what you're going to be doing in the future, then, is it?
Well, yeah, I'm hoping not to do that many more of them.
True.
I'm hoping to be working certainly more on Freedom Skills Academy stuff as we enter into the year a bit more. But they still come up every now and again. I find
But
them
then
hard
as
to
we
turn down, but we can now. Look, we are maybe at a point now where even if I get the leads, we can outsource them. So yeah.
See, that's the other thing, the middleman business, which, like I say, we should talk about another day, because we were talking about this only yesterday. Is a great business model because it's one of those where your job primarily is to advertise, market, and talk to people about jobs, and then you pass it on to somebody else. So whereas as a freelancer, you could probably be doing one job per week or so because you've got one client. As a middleman, you can be dealing with like 10 clients.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, even if you charge £1,000, $1,000 for a job, but you give the freelancer 800 and you're only making 200, that's fine. But if you've got loads of other clients you're dealing with, you can be screaming off $200 off each job, while all you're basically doing is just
project managing it, really.
Project managing and sending emails and just doing the odd talk and saying, yeah, the website will be ready on such and such a time, or geeing up somebody. It's
that's it.
It's a lot less work. Oh, it's a different kind of work, but it's I mean, freelancing is outsourcing and freelancing is the way to go, and it's something that I think people really should be sort of thinking about more, because it is if you try and do everything yourself, it can be, especially if it's something you're not fully 100%. I mean, like I say, we're good on WordPress and that, but as soon as they have an update and it crashes the site, that's it. We're kind of flummoxed because I don't know all the CSS coding and all that kind of stuff that needs to be checked. And it's often easier to outsource it.
Definitely. Okay, well, on that note, I think we'll wrap up there. So, so outsourcing, we use it. We highly recommend you look into it as well. If you find a good one, keep hold of them, because they can add a tremendous amount of value to you and your business. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you very much, and speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Freedom Hustles podcast. We hope you found inspiration and insights to help fuel your journey towards freedom. Don't forget to join our free newsletter at freedomskillsacademy.com/newsletter, where you can find exclusive tips, updates, and resources to help elevate your hustle. Until next time, keep hustling towards your dreams.